Well, United Airlines beat estimates mostly driven by demand from premium domestic passengers and international travelers. Let's take a closer look at the company's fourth quarter results with Stephen Trent, independent aviation specialist. Stephen, thanks as always for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
All right. What are some of the highlights for United? What are some of the concerns?
Yeah, absolutely. So premium continues to be a very good spot for them. And when we look at the overall revenue stream, as in the case with Delta, United generated the majority of its revenue outside of main cabin. So those areas continue to be very good drivers for the carrier in terms of generating higher earnings. We saw that in loyalty. We saw that on the Atlantic. You did have one or two regions that looked a little bit softer, such as Latin America, Caribbean, and some of that was related to military action that happened not long ago. But we think that as we move forward, 2026 foundation looks very good. I think the things that probably want to watch, there aren't many. I thought the results were very good, but if I were to keep my eyes on this stock for any warning signs, for example, I would keep my eye on how they continue to negotiate with some of the labor unions. Flight attendants agreement, that's an ongoing process and should get more about that. I also think longer term, as we look deeper in the year, you always worry about these kind of black swan events that are going to be a top-down problem. But I think absence of those factors, the results look very good, and we're constructive on the 2026 outlook.
Okay, and just quickly going back to the unions, have there been any rumblings of potential strikes, or are the talks moving along?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any warning flags at this juncture regarding potential strikes and what have you. I think it's more, where will these groups settle in terms of new contracts, and what will be the seat mile cost impact from those new agreements. Now, I think the company's been conservative in terms of their guide. I'm sure they've already accrued for at least some of this as we look forward. I think it's more, do we get some kind of agreement that's going to put maybe at least some smallish unexpected pressure on seat mile costs, but nothing in terms of wild dispute or anything like that at this juncture.
And going back to the growth, loyalty program was up and premium as well, but also basic economy. And I know it's been kind of poo-pooed a little bit, but it was up by 7%. Were they doing anything different, or how does it compare to other airlines? Were they doing anything different? Are they doing better when it comes to that basic seat?
Yeah, you know what? I think the big three have really been very effective in how they're managing basic economy. So you do have in the United States, the discount airlines really under a lot of pressure. The discount airlines don't really have premium. They're all trying to do premium. They don't really have lucrative co-branded card programs like the big three or Alaska Air have. But if you're one of the big three, you have the opportunity to take share. You can, in some cases, price at least a smallish amount of that capacity aggressively and help fill your planes. And if you can do that, the marginal cost of adding a few extra passengers is probably not going to be that big a deal, considering how much money they're already making on the front cabin and how much money they're already making on ancillary. So that's probably a place where United, for example, had some low-hanging fruit when we think about main cabin's performance.
And have we heard? Has any airline mulled the idea of like an all first class or all business class plane on different routes?
Yeah, look, you hear about that from time to time. Some airlines have actually tried this idea in the past. A transatlantic service in one airline, and forgive me, the name escapes me at the moment. One of the big three doing that, I would say I'd be surprised if they did something like that. So certainly you kind of see them moving in the other direction of that. Not to say not at all to say that they're suddenly going to become all basic economy. But what I am saying is you are hearing about some experimentation, for example, within the business class cabin to maybe unbundle a little bit of that. For example, maybe have a business class seat where you don't get lounge access. And maybe if you pay a higher ticket, you get some lounge access. You pay a higher ticket, you pay a lower ticket, for example, and that seat becomes non-refundable. So further refining what's happening in the broad buckets, I see potential for greater differentiation within the buckets. But I would say, going all business class, one of the big three, I would be surprised to see that.
Okay, we have to wrap it up there with Stephen. Thanks as always for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Stephen Trent is an independent aviation specialist.